everyone. Thank you so much for joining, and so sorry that we were delayed a little bit, technical difficulties, but we are so excited to have you guys joining us today. My name's Nikita, and I am the Field Marketing Manager here at Labra. And I just wanted to go over a couple of housekeeping notes before we dive right in. One, you'll notice that we have a chat box on the right-hand side, so feel free to drop in questions at any point, and we will do our very best to get through them. We do have a Q&A session carved out towards the end of the webinar. So yeah, and also I also wanted to note that we are going to be at the AWS LA Summit. So if you're also going to be there, please feel free to drop that in the chat as well. We would love to meet you guys there. And from here, I'm thrilled to pass it on to Jay Kumar, our founder and CTO at Labra. Jay, please feel free to take it away. Thank you.
All right. Hey, everyone. First of all, our apology that it took a while to get on this webinar. We had some technical difficulties. At some point, I was thinking that is the AI agent has overtaken our webinar room, so we are not able to get on the room. But thank God we are here. So I think we can start using the time, whatever is left. So first of all, thank you for joining today's webinar. And as you know, my name is Jay. I'm the CTO and the founder of Labra. And those who are not aware what Labra is actually a next generation cloud GTM platform for sales, alliance, and marketing team. It is used by many Fortune 500 companies today to automate their cloud marketplace and post-sale automations with working with major cloud providers such as AWS and more. For this webinar, we have an exciting agenda that covers everything from understanding AI agent in the cloud marketplace and how Labra simplifies this journey along with AWS, and also how it plays a role in the partner ecosystem. So I have an amazing panel with me to deep dive into these topics. And I would like to start quickly introducing our speakers and would love to know one fun fact when they're introducing themselves. So having said that, Niti, goes to you. That would you love to talk about yourself?
Thank you so much, Jay. I've been in the industry, big tech industry, for 20 plus years. Recently, I started my PhD focused on AI partnerships at University of Cambridge, and obviously interested in helping partners work better with hyperscalers. That has been my focus in my career as well as in what I'm doing right now. Yeah, the fun fact is that I have lived and studied in 3 different continents of the world, and that's how my ongoing continuous learning, even after being in industry for 20 years, continues, because I think I love to learn and I also love to teach. So yeah, thank you again, Jane. I'm very excited to talk about what partners are seeing as they work with AWS and other hyperscalers. Over to you, Jay.
That's wonderful. I wish that I could have studied more than one continent, but here you go. Chidu, you're next. His full name is Chidambaram Muthappan, but we call Chidu. So Chidu, let's talk about yourself. What have you been doing and what are you up to?
For sure. Thanks, Jay. My name is Chidambaram Muthappan. You can call me Chidu. I'm a marketplace specialist solution architect at AWS for about 3.5 years now. Good to meet you all. Fun fact about me is I love kayaking. I've kayaked about 14 lakes in the Pacific Northwest. Over to you, Jay.
I would say you're a lucky guy. Okay. Chris, would love to know about you.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks for the opportunity to chat with everyone today. I'm Chris Spandikow, a general manager at AWS Marketplace, leading up the AI Agent Marketplace and all our different product and delivery options. So we call that deployments org internally. Been with Marketplace for coming up on 6 years now, and have covered a lot of different areas of the marketplace. For fun facts, I've been started to being asked, like, how are you using Gen AI in like your everyday outside of work? And so I like to cook. And sometimes when I don't have all the ingredients for a recipe, I will turn to AI to be like, okay, what can I make instead? And it's actually turned out pretty good in the past. So, but like human in the loop, Gen AI, ingredient substitution, etc., works pretty well.
So you think that we don't need Michelin-rated chef anymore? Gen AI can do their work?
I mean, my kids are happy enough with it. I'll leave it at that.
All right. So now you see that AI is everywhere, right? And agentic AI is taking the front seat in the innovation in many verticals. Like you just mentioned about the cooking, I'm sure that the restaurant industry will also be getting impacted. But here in this webinar, we are focusing primarily on the technology side. AWS recently launched the AI Agent Marketplace, so congratulations to AWS, and Labra was selected as one of the launch partner for the marketplace. And we help our customer get onto their AI agent on the marketplace, as well as we list it on our list for AI agent on marketplace. So having said that, I think it would be worth knowing more about it. So Chris, I would like to start from you. That could you give an overview that what is the AI agent and tools in the AWS marketplace, and how does it work?
Yeah. So the AI agents and tools in AWS Marketplace is actually a multiple feature set that we launched at New York Summit. And it really embraces the fact that, like how Marketplace operates for SaaS or for Amazon Machine Images or containers, like embracing the agentic space. So being able to discover agents and agentic tools like knowledge bases and guardrails is a huge part of that, along with helping people discover more from a use case space. So we launch natural language search. And then also from a deployment perspective, we partnered with a sister org from Bedrock that created the Agent Core services. And so we've integrated directly into some of the agentic primitives that they've created. And so this categorization, et cetera, expands not just agents, but the tools and the professional services around that. And we've seen really tremendous growth. We're at well over 1,000 listings now in the agent and tools category, and it keeps growing every day.
I mean, I'll tell you, that's wonderful. And I'm sure the number is growing as we speak. So what type of listings are available on the marketplace today? I mean, we hear from many prospects when they come and talk to us that they wanted to know what type of software listing they can have there, and also what the value of those listings they can have on the marketplace. So could you also talk about those kind of listings which people can list on the AWS Marketplace?
Yeah, I think this was an interesting discussion internally of like how we treat agents and the deployment of those. And when we really looked at it, there were multiple ways that you can deliver value through agentic AI. And so we don't just have one category of like, oh, you have to be listed this way and that's it, like a container that runs on Agent Core runtime. We do support containers that deploy on Agent Core runtime, but we're not limited to that. So you can list a traditional SaaS, but that has agentic underpinnings. You can list data products that are knowledge bases. You can list APIs that you host. You can list containers, as I mentioned, and even Amazon Machine Images that just run directly in EC2, but have that are using LLMs behind them to power the agentic aspect of it, and professional services to help customers grow their agentic strategy or help implement a specific agent that they're looking to develop. And so it's a broad set of categories, but we've also added the details like if you support MCP servers, if you support A2A protocol, and then also being able to filter on, are you a guardrail, a knowledge base, actual agent, and where you deploy. So we can help people find what they need as they're building out these agentic workflows.
So that's, yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to add one more thing is that we, in Marketplace, we want to help you throughout the entire journey of your agentic workflow, not just deploying one small part of it. All the different deployment models that essentially Chris mentioned is going to help you throughout, right from your building of your agents to deploying custom purpose-built ones to building out your solutions, and also getting help from professionals using professional services too. The comprehensiveness is the goal for AWS Marketplace.
Yep, absolutely.
So I think it is fair to say that AWS has all possible ways of supporting the listing AI agent on the marketplace, correct?
All the ways that we've thought of. If you have more, we'd love to hear them, because yeah, we'll definitely be looking to add support. Like, this space is evolving so quickly, like where we know we're not done for sure.
Okay. Yeah, because we serve like multiple customers in the different domain, and they have different way of developing the software. So we have seen that every software company is coming with their own type of software. Like for us, we actually launched our AI agent, which is primarily the MCP server, which is being used by the customer for the consumption through AI agent, their own AI agent, or some other way. So that's one of the way which we did. But yeah, sure that there is like different ways of doing the same thing. So I heard about the Bedrock Agent Core, right? So I also want to take a little time here, since this is valuable for the audience to know that how does Bedrock Agent Core fit into the overall marketplace experience? So Chidu or Chris, you may want to talk about it.
Yeah, I can start, and Chidu, please feel free to add to this. So Agent Core is really a set of primitives to help customers with, as AWS does, handle that undifferentiated heavy lifting of building and monitoring agents. And so that applies to partners as well, right? Being able to then deploy or allow those agents to deploy. When we talk to customers, whether they're early in their journey or they've started to actually roll things out to production, a lot of these primitives were super important to them as far as being able to like deploy within their own environment, or be able to have a central place to know where all their tools are available in a governed way. And so Marketplace, like integrating directly with that, made a lot of sense for specifically two of the primitives that they launched. And like, if you haven't gone, I won't go through all of what the Agent Core launched, because it's quite a list. But for auth and observability and tools like that, there's just some fundamental building blocks for the agent and agentic workspaces. But what we integrated with specifically is Gateway, which is basically a way to register tools into a central location, and then through an MCP server be able to see, hey, this is what I have available to me as a developer. And so organizations can really create that governed list of tools that are available and have that be discoverable through their AI developer tool, whether that's QCLI or Claude Desktop or what have you. And then the second was runtime, which is basically deploying of Docker containers directly into the customer's environment, and allowing the customer to keep their data essentially like self-contained in that environment, depending on the agent, obviously. But they can then quickly find those tools and deploy them in a secure manner. And so Agent Core is in preview now. It'll be GAing. And as that does, we'll see even more, I think, improvements in that experience, and Marketplace is coming right along with them.
Yeah. To essentially add to the answer, like Chris mentioned, Marketplace, we have specifically identified two primitives, and we have essentially piggybacked on them as API deployment method, which essentially integrates with our Agent Core gateway, and then the container-based deployment method, which integrates with our runtime. So at a very high level, what I want you to take away from this is an API-based deployment helps you to have vendor-hosted AI agents, and then the container-based helps you to create your AI agents as a partner, provide it so that the customers can host it in their own environment. Yeah.
Got it. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Chidu. So that was actually a great foundation. And now I want to touch base on how things are getting influenced or shaped in the partner ecosystem due to the wave of AI agent. So this question I would direct to Niti. I wanted to help from you to understand how AI agents are becoming a trend and how can partnership and alliance with hyperscalers or other ecosystem players help differentiating their offering and creating more value for their customers.
Yeah, so thank you, Jay. Obviously, everyone's talking about agent AIs, and there's definitely the number one group of people who are talking about what can we do in the workflows which can be optimized are customers. So customers are actually becoming the first partners in the ecosystem with the hyperscalers. And the reason being is because they are looking to build workflows that can help them optimize their internal tools. And similarly, what I'm seeing is with the partners, they are also experimenting. And the first step is to look at their internal tools and say what can be agentic in this space. The second thing I would say is, from a trends perspective, follow the money. The amount of investments that are going in this world is it's significant. It's growing like a hockey stick right now, right? So if you look at 2020, 2021, 2022 investments, about 3.8 million plus has gone into, and also the big investments where the companies have been acquired by big tech is also in this space. So when you look at the customers, the partners, what they're doing internally, right, to not only kind of follow the trend, but also see where it can be effective and useful for them internally, and then shipping products externally, and the investments that are going on. So I think there is that piece. Of course, the real test will be the adoption at scale.
Yeah.
And I think we are seeing some pockets of that, and we'll continue to see more and more of that as the right workflows or use cases. So a lot of customers and partners come to us and say, hey, what are the right use cases, right? So I think that's the number one question, is once they find the right use cases and there's some experimentation to build out the workflow that then helps them in their day-to-day productivity or day-to-day work, whether it can be at any layer of the AI stack. It can be at the infrastructure level, it can be at, so working with Bedrock, or it can be at the application layer as well, right? So we are seeing that momentum across. Now, from a partner or a customer perspective, obviously the hyperscalers are important in that equation, and that relationship is important because most of the customers and partners don't want to build the whole infrastructure. That infrastructure stack is actually being leveraged from the hyperscalers. Obviously, the hyperscalers are moving up the stack, right? They want to play in the application layer as well. And the partners are trying to see what is the best workflow and the use case they can optimize and monetize to be relevant in the marketplace with the existing customers. And most partners, at least the ones that I've talked to, are saying that they are looking at their existing product lines and seeing how that can be agentic, right? So that's kind of the lowest hanging place where most people begin. And then working with customers who are already AWS customers or another hyperscaler customers, and making sure that there is value for the end users. So that's kind of what I'm seeing, Jay. But I would love to hear from others on the panel as well if they're seeing something different. Like, that's kind of an outside in perspective that I'm seeing.
So you are spot on many of those areas, Niti. One of the areas where I have seen that partner ecosystem is actually taking help from the AI agent is the partner enablement and the collateral, which can actually help them to improve that how they can do the partnership with the other partners in the ecosystem. And the agent is actually taking the stage there to holding their hand at each and every step to telling, hey, you have to do this one now. Do you want to do this? You want to send this information, email or color creation, and everything is getting automated. It's not yet fully automated, but one of the areas which I'm seeing that partner ecosystem is leveraging for the AI agent uses there. Have you also seen that one, Niti, or anybody, Grace or Chiddu, you have seen any such thing from the partner ecosystem?
I think enablement is definitely an important use case, I would say, for the ecosystem, right? Because when a new technology or new feature is produced by the hyperscalers, the partners and the customers need to understand, and that enablement piece comes into play, both at the relationship with the hyperscalers, but also with their customers and the end user. So I think if you think end to end, I think Jitu was talking about the end to end and understanding that end to end play, not only across the technology stack, but also working backwards from the customer perspective and understanding all the pieces that need to come together, and understanding those pieces is the enablement hook, right? So I think that's what I would say. Yes, enablement is the first step in this process.
Yes. So I think by now we all are convinced, and probably our audience are also convinced, there is lots of value from the AI agent, right? So now the thing is that how to build this AI agent, right? And how to monetize this AI agent. So I would love to unpack this a bit, and where I want to focus on what are some best practices you recommend when designing the AI agent for the marketplace, because I believe there are so many people in the audience who wanted to go back and convince their team, hey, we need to build AI agent. But where to start, how to start, and what are the best practices to follow? So if there is something which Chris or Chidu you can start with, would love to know about it.
Well, I think Nidhi hit it a little on, like, partners. We love working with partners because they know their customer really well. And so working back from the customer and customer needs, like, it's funny, there's different conversations about, oh, SaaS is dead, or things like that are provocative to the point of, like, should you be using agentic solutions just because, and like ripping up your existing code base just to put agentic in? It's like, well, the ROI on that probably isn't as strong. But like what this allows you to do is go solve problems that like normal ML models, decision trees, et cetera, just couldn't handle, right? That handle so much more nuance, and being able to solve problems that we just couldn't before, not without a lot of cost and potential oversight. And so really it's working back from the customer needs, the new areas to get into, and like what problems we can solve for our customer. And then from there, I think, the best suggestion, if you can, is pricing wise, like, and monetize following the value. And like, there's lots of discussions about value-based pricing and how that happens. I'm not here to give you the secret formula for it. I don't think people have necessarily found that out, but like that traditional like pricing of like willingness to pay, et cetera, always comes back to like the value that you're creating. So look for where you can create that value, and then price accordingly. And like with Marketplace, I don't want to say we're like agnostic to like how you price, but we know everyone has a slightly different strategy. And so we've built the capabilities to support if it's pay as you go, if it's an annual contract or multi-year contract, if it's a contract plus overages or contract plus some consumption model, we can handle that. And so we actually had a colleague write a blog on this topic. We'll post in the chat in just a sec, but like there's some things that you can do to look at the value, look at how to monetize. But like the pay as you go is I would not sleep on that, especially in the state we're in of doing proof of concept, being able to, like, customers want to experiment with these things, do proof of concepts, and a lower barrier to entry can actually be a huge like product-led growth motion for, especially in this space, that can then lead to larger deals and, you know, in marketplace terminology, private offers that would be like lead to multi-year contracts. So those are some of the areas that I think would set you up for success, working back from the value. And then we're here to support whichever direction you want to go. But as we learn more, I think we'll also be sharing more, like the blog that Chidu just posted.
What I would also like to add is, from the technical side, also working backwards from the customer's needs are very important. In the sense that, are your customers interested in hosting their own things so that their data doesn't leave out? Or are they fine sending the data out because they don't want to manage their own infrastructure? What is their level of technical capability, and how big even is the customer's tech teams, right, to manage and go about it? Having those kind of honest conversations with your customer and then building your product out by choosing the right deployment methods is one of the key factors that differentiate partners who make lots of money versus the partners who go ahead and try and experiment things, right? Having that customer understanding and then building your products, because marketplace allows you to do both, by the way. And we'll be happy if even you do both. But I think it'll be good as a seller to identify the gaps that the customer has and how they work towards it, and then meeting the customer's needs with AWS Marketplace to help speed up their value and solution really helps. And that's why having different deployment methods, different pricing mechanisms, like Chris mentioned, just to give as much flexibility as we can to meet, so that you can meet your customer at where they are, rather than pulling them or you getting pulled.
Thank you. There's one thing actually which keeps coming in our mind, that we deal with the customers. Some of them are early stage customer, startup, or some of them are established ISVs. So there are two sides of the spectrum. Do you see that any pattern in which these models are working best for these two types of companies, in terms of the deployment, in terms of the monetization? Do you guys have any early observation? Niti, do you have any perspective on that?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a difference that I see between the startups and the scale-ups. The startups are still struggling because they're leveraging the credits that they're using from the hyperscaler platforms, and they're still figuring out their pricing. But as they start scaling beyond their first initial customers, and they have a better understanding of the costs that they're incurring, and they're able to kind of factor that in, and are able to use the marketplaces as a channel, that shift is very, like, it's very apparent even as an outsider who's helping these partners and talking to these partners on a daily basis. I see that, once they've figured out that the marketplace can be a channel for them, and they have gotten over the hurdle of the cost that they're going to incur for the infrastructure, and are able to kind of calculate that and package that from a pricing and value perspective for their customers, then I think they are over the hump. But when they are not over that hump, there's definitely that struggle. And it goes back to what Chris and Chidu were talking about earlier. You have to understand your customer. You have to understand where the customer will find value. And if you don't, then obviously that cycle will continue, because then you're basically pegging on the cost to determine value. And that's not always the right way, because the cost may fluctuate based on the consumption patterns. And if you don't understand those consumption patterns for your customers, then it's going to be difficult, right? Especially when you're off the hook of credits. When your credits expire and now you are a partner who has to pay, then that the crack is out. So now what do you do? So I think I've been talking to a couple of startups who are in that stage, in that inflection point. Now they have a product, they are starting to see some market fit, they are beyond the 10 customers. Now what do I do, right? Because if you don't have that value equation figured out, And it's not the traditional product value, right? It's not a resale that you have to kind of understand what the consumption patterns are and then be able to package that beyond the cost that you're going to incur of the infrastructure and the platform. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm sure Chris and I see Chris and Chidu shaking their heads. I'm sure they're seeing some similar trends as well on their side.
Yes, actually, we do see different customers, different partners approach this in a different way. But we as Marketplace provide all the tools that they can use and help them achieve what they want there.
Yeah, I'd say the one other thing I briefly mentioned before was like you don't have to settle on one pricing model either, right? We have plenty of customers that have product-led growth that then will move and pay as you go with free trials, et cetera, that for longer term commitments will move to a contract-based model. So like you're not stuck with one, you can actually experiment. But if you're priced the right way, that you can actually use like that pay as you go model as a lead funnel to your longer term contract, longer term commitment. And that's one of the things that we're seeing some companies have a lot of success with. And so we're building that up. We've created a seller program about that to help people really embrace those product-led growth motions.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I have seen the pricing in software sales has evolved over the last 2 decades. And I was actually talking to some of the experts in the pricing side of the industry. And what I learned is that if you look at that right now, the pricing model, what the softwares are being sold on, there are primarily like 5 major ways that people are pricing their softwares. And those are actually, first of all, is very common, which you may see that is a flat fee pricing, which is based on the subscription. Second one, you may see the seat-based pricing. Third one is a usage-based pricing. And the fourth one, which is very new, which is actually many companies who are using AI agent is using, is that outcome-based pricing. But we also see the trend of something which is hybrid, which is combination of all these pricings model. So one of the most compelling and interesting one from my perspective is the outcome-based pricing. So many people have started leveraging that one, but very few people which I found that they understand that what is outcome-based pricing. So I can give you an example. So there's one company who is actually in the collection business, like when there's just somebody is not paying the loan or anything, there's a due amount. So the AI agent model there, a company has built that. The AI agent job is to basically go reach out to the defaulter, ping them, provide the information and all those things, and eventually collect the money from the defaulter. And so that was the business model of that company who built the AI agent for this kind of collection agency. And what they were saying that my AI agent is helping you to collect the money from the defaulter. So whatever the money is being collected, I'll take X percentage of it. And agencies were very, very, very actually willing to experiment this one because they were getting the money back from the defaulter. So that is one of the very compelling use case of how to price your AI agent for if you are building those kind of softwares. But in my opinion, the best way to think about is not sticking to one particular model, rather finding that what your business needs are, what your customers are comfortable with providing the value which you are offering to them, and combining and coming with the hybrid pricing, which is mostly I see the platform pricing, which is static, and then the value-based or the outcome-based, whatever you are leveraging from that platform in the AI agentic space. Right.
So one thing I would also add is Marketplace does provide us option to do free trial for 7 to 90 days. Since this is a green market where everybody is experimenting, I think it will be good to also, it really helps if you have a free trial on your product so that you can have customers entice and then make use of your product more.
Okay, so now we have talked a lot about like how to build it, what is the AI agent marketplace, and what are the potentials there. I think we should now get into the AWS perspective on why this marketplace matters and what support program exists for the partners and the sellers to get on the marketplace. So, Chris or Chidu, do you want to take that on?
So there's lots of ways to answer this. So I'll try some and Chidu can try some others. So one of the things that, just to be clear, is like the AI agent marketplace that we've built is built on top of the AWS marketplace. So all the features that we have from a customer's perspective around governance, like private marketplace or purchase order support, the ability to like actually govern the software that you're using, and then the cost aspect of having everything in a consolidated invoice, everything billed from AWS, so you can use Cost Explorer or the tools that you're using to analyze your expenses from AWS in general. Not only does the SaaS products that you bought through Marketplace show up there now all your agentic stuff happens there too. And it's funny, I feel like I've been having conversations that we're looping back to like 10 years ago, where people are talking about, oh, they're worried about software sprawl or like agent sprawl. And like, oh, we're going to have all these different agents. They're all going to be like pay as you go. We're going to have all these different invoices. How are we going to manage all of that? And like AWS Marketplace helped solve that for SaaS. It now is just there by default for agents. So I think from a customer perspective, and like as partners talk to their customers, it's like they're going to face these challenges. And like, so consolidating, creating this catalog where they can centrally find, they can centrally deploy through the other AWS agentic primitives we talked about earlier, but then also manage that portfolio much more easily. That all works together pretty seamlessly. And so I think that's one of the reasons we think this is important. That, and we also want customers to know, like, they don't have to go this alone. Like the fact that there's so many third-party agents and more being developed by probably folks on this webinar right now, like they're there to help. You don't have to be a subject matter expert in every different area that you need an agent. You can use trusted third-party agents to help deliver and accelerate that transformation into an agentic workflow. And so that, from that perspective, I think it's a really important message that both partners and customers understand. The second thing is, from an AWS and APN perspective, AWS Partner Network perspective, like we're here to help. So that goes from, there's a host of different Gen AI specific APN initiatives or Amazon Partner Network initiatives, but I think some of the key ones are co-selling. This extends to agents. So it's not just SaaS, it will extend to agents, like going to market together with AWS. There's multiple studies that show how much faster deals close, how much more spend there is in any given deal, et cetera. And so I think that is a really valuable aspect of going like a better together story. And the second side is instead of just sales-led growth, is this partner or product-led growth. And so that's where programs like Seller Prime really come in, and we're putting our money where our mouth is on that as well. Like there is co-marketing, like matching dollars available, things like that. So as you release, if you go to market, you can effectively market that, and we can help you do that, and then actually help you do paid programs, etc. So I think those are just the tip of the iceberg, but like we're thinking about this across the full spectrum, from startups and product-led kind of initiatives to larger deals and contract negotiations where we can add value, and we have programs across the board.
Yeah. One of the programs which we have seen that a lot of our customers take leverage of is Marketplace List and Sell program. And I know the AI agent is also falls in that category, that people can take advantage of that that marketplace list and sell program. So I think it would be worth actually putting a link about that in the chatting for more people to know what is the marketplace list and sell program from AWS. Okay, so that is from AWS perspective. Now I would love to know from Niti that what you hear from the partner ecosystem, that what is the most important support they need from AWS to be successful in the AI agentic side, specifically for marketplace.
I think so. From a partner perspective, and especially if we kind of segment it into two categories: the startup community, and then the scale-ups, and of course, then there's the limited unicorn, right? So there are different things we hear from these different categories. With the unicorns, AWS and hyperscalers already have, strategic partnerships. And so they're taken care of, and they understand the co-build, co-market, co-sell rhythm in the marketplace, value. But when we look at the startups, especially, there are so many startups right now who don't understand how AWS works, who don't understand how these programs work. And also, AWS has become so huge now that navigating AWS and the different teams that provide different pieces of the value chain to these partners has become difficult. So I think if I had to pick one thing, as the Agent AI Marketplace has been announced, and there are now thousands of partners, of course, those are early adopters, and those they're close to the AWS ecosystem, so they understand the language of AWS, the way to navigate AWS. But I think there's the long tail, and then kind of ones in the middle who are still trying to understand, once they're off the credits, how does the go-to-market machine work for them from a business perspective. And I think that's one support I would say the partners in the ecosystem need, is stitching together the end-to-end story from the co-build mechanism to when they are successful businesses through the marketplace. I think that story is unstitched, if I have to kind of use that word. And that's, I mean, of course, it's like people like Jay and others in the go-to-market world are stitching together that story on behalf of the hyperscalers. But I think that's one place I would say partners are asking for help, and different consultants are stepping in. But I think that could be also something AWS can help, and other hyperscalers can help craft and amplify more. And it's not that it doesn't exist, because we go to your sites and stitch that together, but I think it'll be useful if it comes from the vendors themselves. And of course, monetization is big theme, and we talked a little bit about that there are tools available, but how do you use the tools is still to be figured out. Again, I'm talking about a segment which are early on startups, a lot of technical people who have left their jobs and started these agentic AI startups and trying to figure out how to monetize that. So a whole ball game, and it's not new. This was the story when SaaS was around, and that happened, and some people learned and others didn't. But that's what I would say Jay's partner community is asking vocally.
Got it. So, I mean, I have seen that people are actually trying to figure it out. But if you look at the historical data, it happens with every type of new technology whenever it comes. Like, it's rapidly start growing, and then people start catching up. So I think everyone, partner ecosystem, AWS, and there is like a company like us, which are actually trying to build this capability so that it can be fruitful for them. So I believe that since we are early stage and we're scratching the surface, and over the period of time, those challenges will get away as long as we continue innovating. So that's what I can think of. And I'm also looking at my watch. Actually, we are getting over the time now. So I would encourage that people that if they have any question, they can put in the chat and we can go over that one. But I really appreciate that everyone joining the webinar session today, and thankful to the speakers over here. They put their time to come and talk about that. Nikita, over to you if there is any questions, and we can actually discuss that, or we can wrap it from here.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any questions in the chat, but I just wanted to also echo you as well. Thanks so much to all of our speakers, and thank you all for joining us today. We really appreciate you all spending time with us and hope you found this session valuable. A quick reminder before we close, if you do have questions and you weren't able to get it into the chat, we can, talk about it offline. You'll also receive a follow-up email from us with the recording and a few key resources. And if you're attending the LA AWS Summit, don't forget to let us know. We'd love to meet you there in person. And on behalf of all of us, thanks again for being here. We look forward to more conversations with you. Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing day.
Thank you.
Thank you.